High Rise Mystery, Chapter 16. George ran towards the cordon with a large speaker in his arms. "Katie!" he screamed over the music. "Yes, you're home! Officer official!" He dropped the speaker by her feet, and a confused Katie covered her ears. "I made this track just for you, specifically for your comeback," he grinned wildly. "Do you love it or not?" "George, what the hell are you doing?" she began to shout as George quickly drew her into an all-consuming bear hug. He towered over her, pushing her head into his chest, swaying with her from side to side. Katie struggled in his arms. George looked over at us and nodded, his eyes wild and wide. Our sign from our decoy. Norva nodded in return and grabbed my hand. We ran under the cordon and pushed the doors to the refuse area. Inside, I panted and held my chest, and then my nose. "Norva, oh my God, No time, said Norva between tight lips. "Grab him and tear him apart." The music continued loudly outside. Fortunately, he was hanging on the side of the bin, freed from his bag. Together we pulled him onto the floor. I daren't look back into the bin, I couldn't. "Hugo, I'm sorry about this, all of this." "Nick, concentrate, yeah? Just get the stuff out and scatter it, okay?" "Okay." We ripped at the body like feral foxes. The most surreal moment of my life. I was certainly having some kind of out-of-body experience. "Why did we use so much tape on you, Hugo, too? Why?" said Norva, snapping me back to reality. Whatever reality was at this point, I wasn't sure. "Here we go," she exclaimed as we broke through the tape. Out came the items. "Goodbye trophies, goodbye books, goodbye Pap's new shirt. We hardly knew you," Norva said as she garnished the room with our belongings. She turned to me. "I think we're done here." I nodded. We stood by the door and Norva pushed it open slightly. We peered through the gap. The music boomed in front of us. George gesticulated wildly at the speaker, pretending he didn't know how to turn it off. Katie stood in front of him, her hands covering her ears. "Now!" said Norva. We sprang from the refuse room and ran to the cordon. I ducked under the tape, but Norva snatched at it as she came through. It fluttered to the ground. She reached for my hand and pulled me towards George and Katie. As I covered my ears, Norva nodded at George, and she crouched in front of the speaker. She prodded a button, and the music stopped. "Thank you!" shouted someone from above. It was followed by a smattering of applause. "What the hell is going on here?" a voice boomed from behind.